Okay. Have you ever seen a dancing goat? I haven't, but an Ethiopian shepherd once did. And that's how we discovered coffee. Hello, my name is Richard Dilworth, and my senior project asked, what makes a good cup of coffee? I love coffee, and I wanted to be a barista for a long time, so I thought I wanted to do this and learn the skills of coffee, science, and the skills of it. And that would be great. And indeed it is. To learn those skills, I had a lot of good resources that helped me a lot from the past few months. The Coffee Ninja Manual, the Specialty Coffee Association of America Training Center, and several academic articles. During this year, I had a major problem with my laptop, and so I came to a major decision. I decided to stop using the laptop, which meant I had to use any research that I use will mainly be used in books, articles, and manuals. And I'll tell you later of how I changed when I got rid of the laptop later. My teacher Kyle is a barista with lots of experience and with training as well. He helped me design this project, and it helped me learn about the science of coffee and the methods I used for it. For each brewing method. Today I will make you a cup of coffee with using an AeroPress. This is the most research I have ever done. I enjoyed reading and learning about coffee, even when reading got hard, like an example of Steve Smith, my advisory teacher, who gave me an article about chemistry of coffee. It was difficult for me, but I managed to learn and read it of all of it, and helped me of what coffee is and what it does. Let's begin what coffee is. Coffee is a bean. We roast it, we grind it, we brew it. There are three variables that alter. Let me reset that part. There are three variables that alter a coffee's taste. No matter what brewing method you use, I remember them as the three T's: temperature, time, and turbulence. Time is how long the water extracts flavor from the bean. Too much time means the coffee is over-extracted. Over-extracted coffee means it's bitter and has a chewy texture to it. Too little time means it's under-extracted. Under-extracted coffee will be too sour and tart and too thin. Temperature. The ideal temperature of water for coffee is between 195 to 205 degrees Fahrenheit. If the water is too cold, the coffee will be under-extracted. If it's too hot, it will scald the coffee bean. Another way to say turbulent is agitate. When we make a cup of coffee, agitating the bean helps to let out all the flavor out. We can agitate in many ways: stirring, pouring water, swirling, and flipping. Today I will show you how to create turbulence by pouring, swirling, and flipping. There is one more thing to pay attention when making a cup of coffee: grind size. Big grinds have a large surface area, and so it takes more time for water to extract flavors. You might use it for a French press. You might also hear big grinds known as coarse grinds. Small grinds have small surface area and flavor. Flavor is extracted very fast. This is why we use small, known as fine grinds for espresso. Today, in my recipe will be a medium fine grind, which is the size of a beach sand. I started learning how to make coffee in a batch brewer, like a Mr. Coffee Pot. I learned about ratios while working with a batch brewer. Too much coffee and too little water will make a soupy coffee, a thick soupy coffee. Too little water and too little coffee will make a thin, bitter coffee. Today, I'm making a cup of coffee using an AeroPress. It's a simple idea. Using a plunger, you push water through coffee grounds in a chamber that has a paper filter. This is much more difficult than it sounds, though, because there are two ways to make an AeroPress. The standard method, which is doing this way, which you'll have like less control of, and the standard version. Well, this is inverted. The other one was standard version. My bad. Either way you make an AeroPress, though, you have to pay close attention with the 3 T's. For my action project, I will continue brewing other methods, such as AeroPress, pour over, French press, and Chemex. Here are my tools: 14 grinded coffee beans, grinder, scale, timer, chamber, plunger, paper filter and filter cap, paddle stir, last but not least, heated carafe. I already weighed 14 grams of coffee beans and ground them with a medium fine setting. I've also boiled the water. We preheat the cup so the coffee won't cool down drastically. The plunger goes in the chamber and we set it on the table. After that, I'll put the coffee grounds into the chamber and level it, because leveling the coffee beans will help with the turbulence while I pour the hot water in. I'll start my timer, and I'll begin pouring the hot water into the chamber for 10 seconds in a slow pace. After that, I'll begin stirring for another 10 seconds. After that, I begin finishing my pour. Then I'll begin putting the filter cap onto the plunger, onto the chamber, flip it, and begin pouring. Before it finishes at 1 minute and 10 seconds. Oh. Guess there was a little bit too much water in there. Now, who wants a cup of coffee? And I hope somebody has a paper towel to it.
Somebody's got to want that coffee, right?
I'm going to turn this down.
No.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. That's really good.
What I've learned, well, I pretty much learned a lot. Some things I've learned about is about coffee, and some things I've learned about myself. What I've learned about coffee is that I have to be patient and pay close attention. I have to take my time. I learned a saying: slow is quick, quick is on time. I also learned about workflow and putting things in the same place, and I have a, and it, and what if I and I. Every time I put everything in the same place every time, so that when I have the cup in the middle of the table, I know where everything is. What I've learned about, or what I've learned about myself might be the more important thing, though. For the past 3 years, I isolated myself quite a lot. I was sometimes moody, and I could get angry, snappy, or grumpy. I had problems with focus and doing the things that I know are important. When I made the very important and very hard decision to give up my laptop, a few things changed for me. I didn't see it myself, but I asked my teachers for their perspective. And they told me that my ability to interact with people has grown tremendously. I started good conversations, asked good questions. I'm respectful and polite. And I control my emotions better. Lots of people started coming around when I made coffee. Sean wanted to try my coffee as well as Jessica and Carlin.
Yum yum. Always good. To the last drop.
And so other students wanted to know what I was doing when I was making coffee, or what things that I learned of when I'm doing coffee. One day I learned how to count back with change. And I was very excited that I managed to learn how to learn with those with those type of math I had to use. I helped with another student. I taught a student how to do it as well, which that will help them for in the future use if they become a cash register or something like that. I really enjoyed getting to talk to so many people about what I've learned about coffee, and I would like to thank them for being an important part of my project. I would also like to thank Zachary Ray at Desert Sun, Catherine Walker at Durango Coffee Company, and Mark and Carly Snyder at the Animus Chocolate Company for donating coffee beans for me to work with. I'd like to finish with a story. One day, I was sitting in class with a couple of students who were being noisy. They're annoying with us with their noises, and they were being crazy as well. My teacher said that he was surrounded by weirdos. I wasn't really thinking at that time, but I said to him, "I'm not a weirdo. I'm a barista." Thank you, and have a good weekend.
Thank you, Richard. We're going to ask you just a couple of questions now, so
You may.
stay up there.
Yeah, sure.
Excellent. Thank you for the permission. I'm going to actually start, and I just want to know about your preferences, Richard. Do you prefer like coarse ground coffee or finer ground coffee, and why?
I choose any coffee that I want to choose if I feel like it, and why. And what was the last question again?
What kind of grind do you prefer? Do you like the coarse grind or the fine grind?
Mainly the grind, but I'll choose which one I want to do if I feel like it. But yeah.
So, how does the location of where the coffee beans were grown affect the quality of the coffee?
In Ethiopia, 1,000 years ago, like I said before, you can like read a story about it on the internet, but an Ethiopian shepherd, I forgot his name, and it's really hard to pronounce. He was a shepherd, and he noticed that his sheep were very energetic, and noticed they were eating some type of berries, and he tried it for himself, and he felt really energetic as well, and he wanted to talk to the monks and show them what he found. One of the monks were really displeased and thinking that it was not very too helpful for anything they would do. The monk throw it into the fire to get rid of it, but noticed aroma was coming out from the beans, and they quickly get it out of there, and noticed they were roasted, and had that, and noticed they have very powerful aroma.
Richard, what's the difference between a dark roast and a light roast?
Dark roast is much more. Dark roast has a strong kick to it, while light roast has that sweet flavor into it.
Do you take your coffee black or do you take it with cream and sugar?
I choose what I choose. So
What is your favorite kind of coffee?
Either way.
I really have no idea. I need to try all of them out. Lori.
What are you most excited about learning during your action project?
Learning to try the Chemex because the Chemex is very interesting and I've seen it around a few times.
What
Take
is a
one more.
Chemex? Is it a machine?
No, it's a. I would say it's a pretty much. It pretty much looks like a carafe, but at the top it will continue to still go up more, and but it goes. It's almost like an hourglass, almost.
Okay.
You put the filter into the top onto the top, and you pour the coffee grounds into it, and you use the hot water pot, and use the hot water to swirl it around slowly, and the water began, not water, the coffee began dripping down out of the out of the coffee filter.
Great, last question.
Oh, yeah, do you want to ask?
No, that was it.
Okay. Do you know, is dark and light roast, does it have the same amount of caffeine?
I think so. It's just what type of coffee bean you're using, and pretty much like I would say, if you're picking a very fancy coffee, there would be a lot of difference to a poor coffee because poor coffee is much more resilient to pests and parasites, while the fancy one are not, which is very interesting.
Right. Thank you very much, Richard. We're going to send you out for just a moment, and then we'll call you in for feedback in just a few minutes.
All right.